Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 1 of the Hollow Corner podcast with Kass and
Cat.
Today we've got a few interesting topics lined up, at least we think they are. We're just gonna talk. I don't know, that's how podcasts work, guys.
We're gonna try to make it a bit of a comedy podcast, try and be funny, but also just some chit-chatting.
It'll be pretty chillaxed, not too planned out or pre-scripted or anything, just, if we think of something funny, though, we'll say it, and you better laugh, or else, we need to get them podcast awards.
So you had something that you've been complaining about a little bit, and I think it's fitting for the start of our first episode. What's your beef with pilot episodes?
Okay, I don't even know when this started, but, something that pisses me off for no reason at all, but every freaking episode of every show, the first episode, is always called pilot. It's just, quote-unquote, pilot, that's it. And I understand that, a pilot episode is a thing, but you don't need to name your first episode pilot. We know it's the pilot, that's how shows work.
Yeah, well, it's the show's taking flight. That's your,
I know it's the term. I know it's the term. But every other episode has a normal title.
That's I get what you're saying. It's like naming your firstborn child Firstborn.
Exactly! It's so dumb. And it's every freaking show. They can just name it something else. Genuinely.
Yeah, because it feels but does anybody even pay attention to the titles of every episode of a show? Because if you're watching anything other than Netflix, I feel like you don't even see what that is.
That's a fair point, but it still upsets me. Just greatly upsets me.
I think it's just lazy writers.
If you can name, I actually don't know if this is true, but say Grey's Anatomy. They have 1 billion seasons, isn't it? That's the show, right?
I think it's 17, which is a lot.
It's a lot. They probably name every episode. They probably do. And I bet you if I went on Netflix, their first episode's called Pilot. I won't because I don't care.
Do you think naming episodes matters? Do you think people would be deterred from a show if they went to look at the episodes and every episode was just sequential, like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3?
See, no, I get that because, they have to be in order, But, naming doesn't really matter. But if you're gonna go into the effort to name it to begin with, then name your first episode also, It feels lazy, like you said, lazy writing.
Mm-hmm. And then it just do I want to read the whole description of the episode? And then sometimes descriptions of episodes have spoilers in them.
Sometimes the titles have spoilers in them. I feel like they're just John dies.
Yeah.
I don't know what show that's in, but I'm sure it's happened.
Oh, it definitely has. Multiple times. I've noticed this with books, too. Do you think titles in book chapters matter? Because I like ones like in Percy Jackson, because they're funny. But lots of them, authors will throw in a random word that just is this is a mysterious and cool title, but I don't think it adds anything at all. And then they'll exclude a number from the chapter. It'll just be a word.
I'll be honest, I can't remember the last time I read a book that had titled chapters. I feel like the ones I read always are just numbers. Or I just haven't read a book recently, which is...
Possibly both.
When you haven't been in school for over a year? Oh my goodness. Wait, how long has it been?
It's 8 months.
It's been a while.
In a physical school? Oh, that one's been a bit of a doozy.
We don't need to worry about that.
Alright, another thing that's happened recently. Topical events. Daylight savings.
Daylight savings is so topical.
It's so topical.
You go on the news and you're just all these terrible tragedies, and you're not daylight savings again. How topical.
I have to change more than one clock because the only preset one to change is my phone. But what I wanted to bring up was talking about daylight savings. When it happened, you were all mad and confused because you're like, well, now we have, like, less daylight. You were confused because you thought it went the opposite way and they were stealing all of our sunshine from us.
Okay, I didn't say they were stealing our sunshine. My brain gets confused with time, especially working overnight. And so I was like, I can't even remember. Did we lose an hour, gain an hour? How did it work? I already forget.
So once the clock hit, I think it was 2 a.m. where we live, all of the clocks, like preset ones, just went back to 1 a.m. So you lived the same hour twice.
Yeah, because it gets dark about 5 p.m. And in my brain, I don't know, I thought it was gonna get dark at 4 p.m. now because of that. But does it now get dark an hour later, like 6 p.m.?
No, everything's earlier. So sunrise had been about 8, maybe 8:30 in the morning. But with daylight savings, everything rewound an hour. So then it was light at 7 a.m.
This is so fucking dumb. This is educational podcast. We're talking about the most boring thing ever. Okay, you know what? Let's move on from that. Everybody hates daylight savings. It doesn't make sense, and your clocks get confused, and you get confused, and...
What's really confusing is when the province, because we live in Canada, the province right beside the one you're in doesn't have daylight savings, but yours does. So when you cross the border, the time just changes.
But then you change back 6 months later anyways. Nobody cares. Like, is it even 6 months? I don't know. I don't care. We're moving on. We are moving on. Okay, we're moving on. So you have a topic written down here which you have refused to explain to me, even though I've asked multiple times. You're just like, you'll find out. You'll find out. So you wrote down social media political block? I can read.
Political block button. This is a genius concept I came up with about a week ago or so. Because when I'm on social media, I have an issue of reading comments because I want to see people's opinions. It helps me form my own opinions sometimes and just get a little bit more educated, but sometimes also just see the stupidest shit you'll ever find, because people think everybody cares about what they have to say, even if they're wrong, and they will argue. So, a lot of social media is very political depending on what part of the internet you go to. So, I tend to block a lot of people of opinions that I just think are blatantly wrong and just, like, offensive or rude and not, like, clearly thought out arguments. They're just dumb people who throw out terms like snowflakes and other stuff like that. And people who say woman moment and that kind of thing.
Worst kind of people.
Worst kind of people. So I'll just block them so I never have to see them again. But I had this idea. If whenever you joined a social media platform, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, yada yada yada, you have to take a quiz. And it doesn't have to be super specific, but basically it's about your political ideologies and your beliefs about certain things. Whether you believe people should have human rights or not. Essentially that kind of thing. You know, people that I wouldn't interact with if they said, no, I don't think everyone deserves human rights.
That should just be the whole quiz. Yes or no. Do you think that people deserve basic human rights? And then if you hit no, then you're just like Donald Trump wiped from every social media. You're not allowed to have it.
It won't let you create the account if you say no one can have human rights.
It searches your IP address. And
someone actually comes and kills you.
FBI open up.
Literally. Yeah. So, basically you take this quiz and then it assigns you to some type of group. And obviously there are people who very much clash on social media. So these political groups would be split up and you just can't interact with them. Or well, you can choose whether you do or not. So you don't have to see the stuff you don't want to see. Because you can avoid it, but you'll always come across it. So if they had some way to just block all that out, because some people go on the internet and social media to escape, not to just be so burdened by all this drama and the worst things in the world that you don't want to see every second of your day when you're just trying to relax. So if you can just get rid of that, I think it would improve a lot of people's lives and experiences on these social media apps.
You know, that's actually so good, especially for Twitter. Twitter is the absolute worst for just your mental health. Genuinely the worst social media app. I don't know about some because, like, I'm not on Facebook because I'm not 50 years old. I'm sorry. I'm not. I will never. I have it to save game data and I will not log on again.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, back to Twitter. I literally get the worst tweets recommended to me in notifications that I don't ask for. And it is political. One time I got a notification from someone, I don't know, but it was, in summary, people from, not gonna say, but like the province we're from, it said people from that province are the dumbest fucking people. And I got that tweet recommended to me. And I don't want to see that. I'm just having a chill day. I'm cuddling with my cat or something. And then you're just like, you are a fucking idiot. From a complete stranger?
To be fair, they're probably not talking about us specifically because there are a lot of idiots where we live.
But still, I wasn't about to go into that comment section for context.
No, I see what you mean. What I've found recently is Instagram has basically not become the new Twitter, but deformed into some version of Twitter instead of what it used to be. So you look at the comments on Instagram and nobody holds back. They just say the worst things they can think of and it's really gross. It'll be a post about literally anything. It'll literally be about just some animal who got hurt or something and people will say they deserved it because it's a cat, not a dog, you know? I don't trust people who discriminate against certain types of animals. They're for sure racist. For sure.
I mean, you can't not be if you're doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
How can you have that thought process and not be racist? Because if you're applying that to animals who, are morally better than humans, I'm just gonna say it.
They don't have the capability to be
immoral.
Yeah.
They don't, because that's just not how their brain works.
Their lizard brains cannot comprehend morals.
And they're better than us for it. I'm sorry. Like, even if we were fucking lizard people, we would not be on the same moral high ground as animals. That's just the point. I forgot where I was going with that. Because we went off on the lizard tangent. I don't even know. So lost that train of thought. I had this other thing about pets. Besides them being morally better than us in every single way.
Sometimes they're fucking annoying.
That's not where I was going with that. I was thinking about this. I don't know. Okay, so I think you cannot love someone unconditionally the way that you can love a pet. Because people, you can never know people 100% ever. But I feel like you can, like, know your pet and love them unconditionally no matter what, because there's no chance of them, like, secretly being evil like any human could be, you know?
Yeah, I definitely understand this a lot because, I recently went through a breakup, and you think after a year of dating a person, like, it's not a long time, but it is a big chunk of your life. And, like, I knew them for a few years beforehand, too. So you think you know a person after so many years of spending so much time with them. But, after the breakup, it was like, I looked at their face, and I couldn't recognize them anymore, because they were just pretending to be somebody else the whole time. Like, it's such a weird feeling to just not recognize the face of somebody you did 2 days ago.
I've had that before, not from a breakup, but just from, like, being betrayed so much and just, like, it's absurd, you know? People are not good as pets, and that is the moral of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else to say. Pets are better. Animals, superior. You can believe whatever chain of dominance or whatever you want to think, but in reality, humans are not superior. This is
only because we have thumbs.
Monkeys have thumbs, and look at them.
They can at least know some sign language and Well,
me eat orange, you give me
eat orange, give me eat you orange.
I don't know the sentence.
I don't know either, but that was probably pretty
that
close.
So bad.
No, it's probably exactly the same.
We have to bring the comedy back in the quote-unquote comedy podcast.
Self-proclaimed.
100%. That is it. Alright, let's backtrack. Let's go back to TV. We're not going to talk about pilot episodes again because they just make me upset. We've been over this. Okay, you said this like a week or two ago. You were like, people never hiccup on TV.
Yeah, and it's not even just hiccuping. Well, hiccuping is something that I don't think I've ever seen on TV, but it's a lot of, like, natural things that they cut out because it ruins the flow and stuff. Like, you don't see people sneeze or fart or burp on TV unless it's written in the script. And that's really weird. Who's in here writing, like, farts into a script? If you're not just, like, some 12-year-old making their first YouTube video.
I honestly don't even think farts get written into anything, ever. Anywhere. If it's not, like...
It has to be plot relevant. But when is a fart plot relevant?
The deep talks are here today.
They really are.
Episode 1 we're hitting you with when are farts relevant. Oh my god.
You never see farts trending on Twitter. Now why is that?
This is the dumbest. This is not where I thought this was going with hiccups on TV.
Well, the whole thing was basically just making everybody aware that hiccups are never on TV. But what are hiccups? To be fair, what are hiccups?
I don't know. I feel like every, 2 years I look it up and then I forget because who cares to store that knowledge?
True, because, let's be honest, people aren't burdened by hiccups that much. Maybe, a couple times a year you get them. If you're, the average person, I feel only gets them a couple times a year. And then it's like, oh, this is annoying, and then you're searching up all the remedies, and you're like, none of these actually work. Somebody was out there just like, hey, you got the hiccups, you know what I think would work? Drink some water upside down. And, you know what? Also start jumping up and down. Rub your tummy, pat your head, and kick your leg.
Oh my god, it's like
And then they pull out a jester hat from their pocket and put it on their friend's head. Because you look like a fool.
It's like when you're gonna get arrested for a DUI and they're walking a straight line. It's like they're do that. That was funnier in my head than when I said it.
Definitely not as funny out loud.
I can't keep my fucking train of thought today.
Yeah, it drove out of the station. Drove? Do you drive a train or no? You conduct a train.
You conduct a train.
Yeah.
You conduct it like you conduct electricity.
Music?
I tried to say electricity there, and I don't think
I
did.
screwed you up when I said music.
Yeah. I guess you do conduct music. That's not really one of the things that pops into my head.
I think about it more than I think about, I don't know, how to tie your shoes or something. That was a really weird example.
Who thinks about tying their shoes? You know what? Time for a little story time about tying shoes. I was not taught how to tie my shoes. I had Velcro shoes for, oh goodness, from at least kindergarten to the start of grade 4.
That's
Fourth grade,
really old.
4th grade for those Americans out there, okay? So...
It means the same. It's the same number.
No, it's
the same
different.
number.
No, they say 4th grade, we say grade 4.
And British people would say, year 1000 or something.
And French would be, year 10.
No,
they go backwards.
French people would be, year of 10 divided by 2 plus 6 plus your grandma. And that's how they name numbers.
Yep. Because I can't.
Yeah. Couldn't keep it simple.
No, they couldn't.
To be fair, English is the biggest thief of everything out there. As in language, but also just the people. They went around the world, found all the spices, and decided they liked none of them, and that's why their food's bland. But, they just stole everything from every language, and that's why you can't understand it.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the shoe tying story. So I didn't learn how to tie my shoes for far longer than most people. I just had Velcro shoes, and that was it. You know, it was I'm fine with this, whatever. But then, come around grade 4, my mother has the brilliant idea of, I'm gonna buy you shoes with laces because you need to learn to tie your shoes. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But you know what she refused to do? Teach me how to actually tie my shoes. She just gave me the shoes and that was it. She did not teach me. She refused to teach me. I literally, for months, had to ask the girl sitting next to me to tie my shoes for me every day. It was so sad. And she didn't teach me either. What?
Not only she watched you suffer, but she suffered herself because she had to do this for you every day.
You know how easy it is to tell a kid, make 2 loops and put them together?
You know what? It's not even once a day that she had to do this, because in elementary school, you have recess 3 times a day, plus you get into school and you have to switch your shoes. So you switch your shoes like 4 or 5 times a day. She was spending probably like 10-15 minutes a day just tying your shoes, and then also her shoes.
Like, why did nobody think to teach probably, how old was I then? Probably 10-year-old me? That's ridiculous. I should know how to tie my shoes by then.
You're at double digits and you can't tie your shoes.
That's embarrassing.
That is a bit embarrassing.
Why would nobody teach me how to tie my shoes? I feel like I have developed less than other people because I didn't learn to tie my shoes. Oh, no, wait. Okay, wait. I know how to tie my shoes now. Okay.
Still can't tie them.
I need
We're
to
in Velcro
clarify.
shoes at like 20.
I need to clarify. I can tie my shoes. No, I just use zipper shoes. Only zipper shoes. Zipper boots. Rain boots don't have any. Actually, I've never had rain boots. Let's get into the shoes, okay? I have never had rain boots.
Yeah, same here.
Why? My shoe journey in life has been absolutely miserable.
Okay, if we actually want to talk about shoe journeys too, there's another story. So when I was like kindergarten, this is like your first year of school, you only go every other day because they think you are too dumb to do it. You actually can't read. That's so baffling.
You're actually just like
children can't read.
You're just like a kind of old baby who they ship off to like educational daycare.
It's so weird. You don't know how to read and write your own name until you're, like, 5.5 or something. Like, weird. But anyways, when I was in kindergarten, I had this pair of shoes that my biological father gave me, and he was never around. He was gone, basically out of my life at that point.
But he still bought you shoes for kindergarten.
Yeah, still bought me kindergarten shoes. What a wonderful dad. Wow.
Yeah, he brought the milk back, guys, but he immediately left afterwards.
Yeah, the shoes were the milk. I drank the shoes. Anyways.
Drank milk from the shoes.
Yeah, put cereal in them too.
He wouldn't give you a cup. Like,
yeah.
He only brought the milk, no cups, that was it.
Like, what do I eat, though? Anyways.
That was a terrible joke again.
Bad joke. These shoes did not fit, and when you're 5 years old, you don't understand anything.
Literally just anything.
Like, you just don't know anything. Literally, there's nothing you understand in the world besides, like, feelings, like hunger and sadness and pain.
But even then, you kind of just cry still. You don't know always.
And I wore these shoes for months before realizing they didn't fit, and it got so bad where there was a point I took the shoe off and my foot was just like half covered in blood because it squished my toes so much. I don't know. They just like started bleeding.
Yeah, that is not good for a literal child.
But the thing is, like, my mom never noticed either until the blood. Like,
well, the thing is, partly, you have different shoes. I don't know about America, because you guys wear shoes in your houses.
These were the outdoor shoes, though.
Oh, were they?
They were.
Okay, because I was going to say you have your outdoor shoes that you walk to school in, you take them off, you put your indoor shoes on, you wear that to class, you change at recess. We've been over this.
Yeah, these were the summertime outdoor shoes.
See, that's actually worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how can a kid be in constant pain and you don't notice?
To be fair, I don't know if I ever complained about it until I also noticed the blood. It's hard to say. That's so long ago. It's like, do you remember feeling the pain?
Or are you just kind of like now attributing that feeling to the memory because you think that's what you would have felt?
Because does a 5-year-old understand that shoes have different sizes and they're supposed to feel a certain way? Or are they just like, oh, this is what all of them feel like?
I think I slightly understood shoe sizes because you remember so long ago at I think Walmart, they used to have in the shoe aisles these mats with different shoe sizes
You're
on
right.
in the size of your feet. Are those not the most amazing thing? To a 5-year-old, that is so fun. You just go and stand in the feet sizes, and then it tells you which one you have. That's so fun, for no reason.
It's
As
really
an adult, I
maybe
probably
it's
need that.
color-coded, too.
I don't remember the color code. I thought they were all yellow.
No, it was just random colors. It wasn't, like, anything special. But it was like, oh, I'm a size 6. That means I'm blue. Nice.
You know what? Right now, start a petition. We need to bring those back.
For adults.
Yes. Because every store has, I swear, different shoe sizes. Every brand, every store, every style. The shoe size is not consistent. I feel like I'm between a 7 and a 9, depending on the freaking day. Like, it's not the same, and I don't like trying on shoes that much, okay?
This would actually make it so easy, because you probably don't even have to try on the shoe. You put your foot on the mat, see the size. You put the shoe on the mat, see the size. And then if it fits into the same one that your foot fits into, there's your shoe.
Like, why in 2010 were we living in 2020, and now in 2020 we're like, we've regressed. We don't have any good shoe science, okay?
Yeah.
People have been wearing shoes for how long? For literally forever, okay? And we still haven't figured out how to
make
them
it fit.
Because everybody's stinky feet go into your shoe before you try it on. You don't know how many people's feet have been in that shoe.
And people don't really wash shoes either.
No.
What if somebody with foot fungus or athlete's foot is
I know
in there?
I wear socks when I try on shoes, but sometimes I don't, because what if you wear flip-flops to the store? Okay, I'm defending myself. What if you wear flip-flops to the store, but you're gonna try on sneakers?
It's still kind of gross.
It's still gross, but you don't have socks on.
But do you need the shoes that day that bad if you don't have socks?
But if you were planning on going to buy shoes, and you were dumb, and you forgot to wear sneakers with socks to go buy sneakers, then it's gross, but, like, I'm guilty. I'm guilty, okay? I'm guilty here.
I wouldn't do this. I don't even try on, like, flip-flops without socks on. I'll put my foot to the back of the flip-flop.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like sandals, I'll just keep the socks on.
I actually don't know if I try on flip-flops. I think because I always buy cheap flip-flops, I'm just like, oh, it's a size 8, it'll probably fit.
Yeah, because they're like $2, and they all feel the same anyways.
And they're all gonna be ruined by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Either that or you didn't go outside enough. Oh.
Yeah.
Just gonna say. Flip-flops have a lifespan of, like, 3 months, and that's it. So, if you don't use them enough in 1 year, they'll probably only last you 1 more. Yeah, and in Canada, summer only lasts 3 months anyways, if you're lucky, so... Because we just have the worst weather. But actually, this year, we had a nice little surprise. Winter came late.
Yeah, it was, like, I think halfway through November before we saw our first snow. And that's just impressive.
Because I think... every year I can remember, it has snowed, if not by October 31st, then on October 31st.
Yeah, I can tell you this for a fact because there was a day, this was about 3 years ago now, I don't think I had my driver's license yet, no. I was doing driver's ed though, and it was the first snowfall of the year, and I had a driving lesson that day, and it was also Halloween. I got into an accident that day because the driving instructor, was really incompetent and was telling me to just speed up a ton on a super icy road, change like 3 lanes, and it was just the worst experience. And I ended up rear-ending someone. Not too bad, but it was still like, oh, you have to go down to the station and fill out the report and blah, blah, blah. And I was in there... in a full-on steampunk Halloween costume.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
I feel like I do not remember that it was Halloween.
And everybody else there was just in normal clothes because it was a bunch of adults. And I was like, well, I'm in high school. Of course I'm wearing, like, a costume to school.
Yeah.
And it was very embarrassing, but also I was just, like, in shock of the whole thing because I'd never been in an accident or anything before. Especially not one that was technically my fault.
Yeah.
So...
speaking of Halloween, I feel like, okay, I haven't really experienced Halloween too much the past year or so because COVID, obviously. But this year, I'm pretty sure, yeah. I worked on Halloween, and I, at the time, was working. This was literally like a month ago. I quit, guys. Worked there for like 2 months. We're not getting into it. But I worked at a mall, a pretty busy one. I won't specify farther than that. But it was a pretty busy mall, and I worked on Halloween. And, first of all, the children, adorable. We gave out candy to children. Okay, so we live in an apartment, and we don't get to do that because, it's locked. There's not going to be children. I don't think any children even live in this building.
You can say that, but I definitely heard a child crying one day in the first couple months we moved in, which is really sketchy because it might have been a ghost or something like that. I don't know.
Don't say that, because I can get into a ghost story. Not right now, but to finish on Halloween, it was so weird to experience Halloween like that, because even in high school, not that many people dress up. But there was so many people dressed up, and there were so many babies. When I left work that day, I have, like, a very short walk from my store in the mall to the exit I take. A very short walk. It's, like, 20 seconds max if I'm walking slow. Or get stuck by the train, the literal train in the mall.
Yeah. So she told me this one time that there was a train that she hears every once in a while at the mall.
Yeah, because I said it goes by the store, and it always honks as it passes the front of the store.
So I always thought she just meant a train that was going through the city, and you could just hear it from inside the mall. And I was visiting her one day, and then I'm walking by her store, and I almost get hit by a fucking train. And I'm like, why is there a train in the store?
There's literally just a train that, like, it holds adults, because you have to have an adult conductor. Look at that. We're back on trains, guys. That is a callback.
Full circle.
Okay. We made it. Full circle. Like, that train made around me one day as I was leaving work. Why did the guy trap me in the middle of the train? I was trying to walk through, and he's like, no, stay there.
It's like a game of Agario, and he was trying to eat you.
He literally was, and I was just in the middle, and I was like, why did he make me stop as all these 5-year-olds and their 30-year-old parents are looking at me? I was so uncomfortable. I was just trying to leave.
That's gotta be traumatizing.
Because I was waiting for him to pass, and, like, because it's like he does a U-turn where I go through, where I cross. He was doing, like, a U-turn, and I thought he was gonna do his U-turn and keep going down, like, the hallway. But he decided to do another loop, and that's when I got stuck in the middle, and he's like, no, stay there. And he, like, looped around me once or twice.
That's so weird. He was treating you like you were a circus act.
It was weird. It was so uncomfortable. I was literally like the lion in the ring at a circus.
Yeah.
What?
You're an employee at this mall? Then perform. Dance, monkey, dance.
You couldn't even tell, though, because, like, I could have just been someone there shopping. I didn't have anything on. I was leaving. I didn't have my apron.
Yeah,
So, I mean, he could have recognized me, but I doubt it.
Yeah, probably not. Probably just some Chad who does whatever he wants.
Literally. Literally, what the heck?
He puts on that cap and he has hella confidence. Yeah. Just to do whatever.
And back to Halloween one more time, because I can't finish a thought. That day, I was leaving and I saw, I'm not joking, in a small, like, I don't know any distance measurements at all, but, like, maybe, like, a 10
These,
meter...
like, American things. They just say football field.
I was gonna say 10 meter. Alright. Sorry, guys.
That's a portion in a football field.
What is an American measurement? I can't think of a thing. Okay, if we're going
I don't know, probably
feet,
like 100 lasagnas.
Okay, so there's about 100 lasagna radius. And there were literally, no joke, at least 35 babies in strollers.
That's a lot of babies.
I don't see that many babies on a normal day when I worked there, okay? Maybe 2 on a very baby-full day, okay? And there were 35 babies and their parents in costumes standing in one circle.
Can babies even eat candy?
I don't know.
I don't think they have the gums to eat all the candy that they could even get. The parents are using their babies as an excuse to get candy just so they can eat it.
I would do the same thing if I was a parent. I would take my infant 3-month-old if I had to.
That'd be so... I feel like babies go through so much trauma that we can't even understand because we cannot communicate properly.
Yeah, I feel like putting them in strangers' faces and being like, trick or treat, as strangers are just like, oh, you're so cute, let me pinch your cheeks.
There's this really weird thing, especially with social media, where parents will just exploit their children for money and views and likes, and it's really weird. I don't think you should be allowed to post a picture of anybody under the age of 13 on the internet.
Exactly, because you're not allowed to use the app if you're under 13 legally. You're not allowed to have an account. But why are you allowed to be posted on there 99% of the time without your consent?
No, because you're a child and you have no rights. It's weird that people own other people.
Yeah. Even just hearing that said is just disgusting.
Think about the way it is. Parents own their children. That is a person owning another person.
I don't even feel like I own my pet. I have never said I own my cat or this cat that I own. I say it's like, he's my baby. That's it. Like, he's my baby. That's it. I have no other words to describe. He's a little baby boy. He's just my boy. That's it. I don't own him. I feed him. He lives in my apartment.
It's kind of like you babysit them, you know?
Babysit, but just forever and always.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
He's my dependent, but I don't own him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is. So to say, like, you own your child, no. Like, they should have all their own rights. Like, you're like, oh, their brains aren't developed to know. Well, we still have a broken system, okay?
A bit, yeah.
Like, I'm sure by the time a kid is 7, they have enough brain to be like, I can answer for myself.
Not for everything, but...
No, not for everything. Like, I get it. Like, if...
Like, medical decisions? Definitely not.
No, definitely not. I feel like that age is probably closer to maybe 15, maybe even younger. Because I feel like a person knows their own body better than their parent ever could. They know their own mental, everything, like their own brain, their own personality, 100% better than anyone else ever could, especially their parents.
Yeah.
So, I think at a certain point, they should have their own rights. The parents shouldn't get the final say. Like, when it's like, oh, a kid can't get a tattoo or a piercing without parents' consent. Even when they're literally 17.
It's a bit weird, because you could literally be a full-fledged adult in 3 months. 3 months does not develop your brain that much.
And people at 17 decide to have children. Their parents can't stop that. But
kind of weird, champ.
You can have a literal another human being be born from you and your DNA, but you can't get your ears pierced without mommy's permission?
You can't get a tattoo?
You can't get a little bit of ink polka dotted on you? What the heck?
People do stick and poke. Is that illegal? I don't think so. Nobody can stop you.
No, literally, can you buy at-home piercing kits, I wonder?
I'm sure you can, because you should go on Amazon. What are they going to do? Ask your age and you just lie.
Everybody lies about their age online. That's why we have people who are 10 years old on social media platforms when they shouldn't be, which annoys me so much.
Because that's where their brain's not developed enough, is to use social media. Because they don't understand humor, they don't know what being cringy is, because all of them are.
You're not supposed to be here.
No.
Like, I don't care how cute you are. You're not supposed to be here. Ryan's TV, is that the kid?
Yeah, the millionaire?
Yeah. He should not be allowed to have a YouTube channel. Because his parents are definitely exploiting him.
Just like this is like child actors, too.
It is, honestly.
That one is weird. You can just have movies without children. I feel like...
Yeah.
Yeah, just have movies without children. Or make the minimum age like 15.
I think it could be slightly okay if it's your kid. Maybe. Like, you're acting with your kid.
Yeah,
but
if
only
it's...
for very short amount of time.
Yeah. Because it's just weird.
It's a sticky situation, the whole thing.
Yeah, and it ruins people's lives.
And honestly, who's gonna know if you're actually holding a baby or it's just a blanket?
Yeah.
Okay?
True.
They have the technology. I would like to... Okay.
Is this gonna be about Hagrid?
This is gonna be about Hagrid. How did you know?
Because you sent me a video about it today.
I literally... Hagrid's not real, guys. I don't know if you've seen the video. Hagrid wasn't real. It's a mask that they, like, wired and animated.
The whole
thing
body is fake.
suit. But I thought the face was real. I thought it was a guy and they made him bigger, like they did with Gandalf in, like, The Lord of the Rings. I thought that's what it was. But it's all fake. It's a suit and it's an animated face. Like,
is it even the same voice? Did they change the voice at all, or is that the only actual real part?
Don't know. I didn't look into it. I was upset enough.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So, but they had that. I don't know how old Harry Potter is. The movies at this point probably older than me.
The movies are like 20 years old, and then the books are like 30.
Yeah, but the movies. Hagrid was in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that was 20 years ago. Any movie since then had the same ability to make a fake baby. And it's way smaller than Hagrid was. So it's a lot less of your budget. Your fucking $4 billion budgets. I don't understand movie budgets. Why are they so high?
Because they make so much money.
But that doesn't...
What costs so much money is the question.
Like, is it the craft services every day? Because to be fair, that would be expensive.
Yeah, feeding people every day because, you know, when you have to be on set for 8 to 10 hours.
Because you're not just feeding your actors, you're feeding your crew, which is so many people.
Usually your crew's more than how many actors and actresses you have.
Sometimes you have crew, like,
Speaking of which, can we get rid of the gendered terms for occupations? Okay, not everybody's an actor, but everybody who acts should just be called an actor.
I just refer to them as actors.
Yeah, but some people don't.
That's like waiters and waitresses and stuff. Like, do we need to still say that?
No, it should just all be gender neutral.
I tend to use, I consider, like, the male terms, usually they're the male term, I'm using air quotes here, that as the gender neutral. Like, if you're waiter and waitress, I will use waiter as the gender neutral term. Like, a female waiter is, like, just a waiter, you know?
I think it's because that's, like, the base word, and then they add the tress to make it female, or whatever they add.
We don't need that.
No. Maybe 200 years ago, but not anymore.
No, we didn't need it then either, actually.
You're not wrong. Actually, it's just never been necessary.
Why did we have extra words?
Probably because it's stolen from other languages. Once again.
True. That's the thing, though. Gendered stuff is a lot more complicated in other languages. Like, the French language, most of your words are gendered, you know? You have, like, male and female. I forget everything I learned about French, honestly, at this point.
That's fair. Your le and la.
Yeah, like, your prefixes, not prefixes, but, like, if you're saying le, what's a French word? Le fromage.
James.
Why did we do that? We're just like,
cheese.
I know food only.
Basically. Sometimes grocery stores don't pay attention to what way a product is facing, so I just know a lot of the French words for foods.
Yeah, I don't know if you Americans there know, but in Canada, legally, every province, like, all of our products have to have the English and the French on it.
Except for Quebec, I think.
Yeah, Quebec is different. They have different laws than everybody. They're barely, like, part of Canada. They don't have any of the same laws.
Yeah, it's very different.
But, we have French and English on literally everything, so it's like, we're exposed to a lot more, but I still know none of it.
Yeah.
But, what were we talking about?
Gendered terms. Oh, yeah.
Gendered terms. So French, like, le fromage. If fromage is...
cheese.
I was gonna say masculine. Masculine, and then you put le in front of it. And then, I don't know any feminine words. I don't remember French.
La bibliothèque. Probably.
La... I got nothing. If you had a feminine word, then you would put, like, la in front of it. Is that la?
Yeah, L-A.
Yeah. You would put la in front of it. La. It's been so long.
Yeah. And then lays.
Mm-hmm. Which is plural?
Or a chip.
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I need to recover from that. Oh my god. So they have gendered terms, and it's a lot harder in today's day and age where people are trying to be more gender neutral.
Like non-binary and stuff.
Yeah. So, like, you try and use something... I don't know if it changes when you describe someone, if you use different...
You know what? I saw a post about this months and months and months ago. Somebody was complaining because they were non-binary, and their main language, I don't remember what language it was, but it had 2 different terms for non-binary, and one was male and one was female. Like, one was masculine and one was feminine.
That's just so wrong. That's like, that defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, so how can you call yourself... Like, you put a gender on the one thing that isn't gendered. Like, non-binary has no gender. That's the whole point of it. And then they made it gendered.
Yeah. And, like, sure, you can have, like, it's obviously kind of like a spectrum, and you can be more feminine, more masculine. Yeah. But if you want to be smack dab in the middle...
You just drop the article altogether, and then people are like, you don't know how to talk now? Like...
It's, like...
a broken system.
Language... Some language has, like, English has always had, like, they, them. And it's always been, like, gender neutral. And it is singular, despite many idiots.
Yeah.
And
once again,
some
political
English
block
teachers.
Button.
Yeah. Every time you talk, I lose my train of thought.
My bad.
What was I saying?
Teachers. That's the only word I picked up out of that whole sentence.
You just don't listen to anything that's said to you sometimes. You know what? The other day, we were talking about something, and I had asked her something. What was it? I don't remember.
Oh, it was, we needed to buy yeast.
Yeah, we were at the store, and we had gotten almost everything, and we were like, we were going to get one more thing. We were going to look at, like, keyboards and, like, monitors. And I was like, we still need yeast. And that's what you had a conversation where it was like, do we need anything else? We still need yeast. Okay. And then you said, like, we don't really need yeast for dough, do we? Because we were planning on making pizza. And you're like, we don't need yeast for dough. And I was like, do we not? Okay. And so we never ended up getting yeast. And then cut to, like, the next day, we're home, and you were like, are we going to make pizza? And you're like, don't we need yeast for the dough? We didn't get any yeast. And I was like... You said we didn't need any.
To be fair, I have no recollection of this conversation at all.
She says it didn't happen, but I can picture it exactly in
all
my
I
brain.
remember is it literally, this is how the conversation plays out in my memory. She says, do we need anything else? I'm like, no, I don't think so. Let's go look at keyboards and monitors. And that's all I remember.
She blacked out the bit where I said, don't we need yeast? And you said, no, we don't need yeast for pizza.
I was probably busy thinking about trains or something.
No, you can't. But she just does this. She just says, that conversation didn't happen. And because this happens multiple times.
My mind just isn't present in the conversation.
But you still had some of the conversation. You just blocked out the yeast.
The thing is, I just automatically respond when people are talking to me, but I don't pay attention to what they said. It's hard sometimes. I'll literally just be like, oh yeah, or no. And then I'll walk away or they'll walk away and I'll be like, what the hell did they just say? This happened to me. This happens all the time. Somebody will be like, hey, can you do this? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, wait, what did they just ask? And then I have to go find them because I don't know.
You're just so problematic to live with. That's the moral of this story. Kat is a pain in the butt to live with. Because not only does she think you don't need yeast to make dough, but she'll forget the whole conversation anyways and blame it on you. So you have to go back to the grocery store the next day.
Yeah.
And driving in Canada sucks. So it's just scary. A terrible situation to be in.
Yeah.
Just anybody listening, don't live with Kat.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I don't want to live with you anyways. We have, I think, time for one more topic. This is something I've never thought about before, but Kass has her own personal list of unofficial cartoon categories, which I think is really interesting.
I've had this, I don't even know when I came up with this. It was just like something I've thought about as I watch cartoons all the time. Watch cartoons online.
If you want free cartoons and animes.
You didn't hear
Not
that
sponsored.
from here. So, in my mind, my little theory here, there's about 4 unofficial cartoon categories. And the first one is just anime, which Japanese cartoons. It's just anything from Japan is anime, and it's one of the categories. There is your baby cartoons, which is like Cocomelon, you know?
Mhm.
It's stuff for little kids that makes no sense. It's your Jungle Junction for the ages of like 0 to like 6, you know?
Yeah.
Then you have your like, I don't know quite what to call it, like universal cartoons that are for any age and anybody can watch them. Like Gravity Falls, Avatar The Last Airbender, We Bare Bears, that sort of thing.
It doesn't matter who you are. You can be a kindergartner, you can be a high schooler, you can be a grown man.
Yeah. Like
an adult.
Yeah. You'll find enjoyment in these cartoons. Their demographic is literally everybody. And then you have your adult cartoons, like your Family Guy,
Archer.
What is that?
I've never watched it, but I have a friend who watches it, and he's the type of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Rick and Morty kind of borders that line.
That one's...
Which is kind of like that. But like your Family Guy, your Simpsons, that sort of stuff.
It'll have too many jokes that go over young people's
American
heads.
Dad, yeah. That sort of stuff. And like, I feel like any cartoon you watch will fit into one of those 4 categories.
I'd like to propose a 5th category.
Alright.
That's not gonna make any sense at all, but old animated YouTube videos. Charlie the Unicorn, we got Salad Fingers, we got, what's the really scary one? Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I know they're not cartoons, but they feel like their own category.
I feel like that's a separate thing. Like, that lives in the YouTube sphere, you know? It's not your satellite TV, you know?
True. You can't turn on a TV and watch it, but...
I feel like
or
it's
nowadays
separate.
you can.
Like, you watch YouTube videos on YouTube. You watch cartoons and anime on TV and specific streaming sites. You know? So I feel like if you're gonna make a category for that, it's like, it has to go in the YouTube sphere.
I guess.
So I'm keeping my sacred 4 categories. That's my Kass's unofficial, official cartoon categories.
How can it be unofficial and official?
Because they're officially mine, but they're unofficial as recognized by anybody else on the planet.
Fair enough, fair enough.
So those are the categories that, you know, I've sat and I've been like,
I'm gonna find an outlier. I'm gonna challenge
you know what?
There's gonna be something that doesn't fit.
Go ahead and try me. I'm sure it can be placed. Because, first of all, it's mostly the 3 categories of, like, baby, universal, and adult. Covers the entire age demographic.
Mm-hmm.
And then anime is just anything from Japan.
Yeah.
And I feel like my bases are covered that you're not going to be able to find something that I can't place. You know?
Happy Tree Friends. Where does it fit?
You're hitting me with one already. You had that lined up.
I had that one
like
ready. I had it ready.
You knew this was gonna happen. Happy Tree Friends.
Getting stumped like a tree.
That was actually tricky. You can't ruin it when I just introduced it. Because obviously it can't be universal because I don't think you would show that to kids. I know people have, but you shouldn't.
You should not.
So it's not universal, it's not for kids, it's not anime. It could be kind of considered adult.
I don't think so.
There's
not enough plot for it to be an adult. It's not, like, thought out enough. It doesn't have older humor.
Why you gotta ruin my
I broke the square already.
My unofficial official cartoon categories trademarked no longer. Literally just born it into the world 1 minute ago, and you're like, actually, let me drive this stake through its heart. It's dead now. Your theory is flawed.
Or as
I'm
many
so
would say,
upset.
Happy Tree Friends is an outlier and therefore should not be counted.
I'm so upset.
Oh,
Nobody
I'm
knows
sorry.
who Benny is. That's gonna go over everyone's head. Did you say Benny?
What? I said Happy Tree Friends is an outlier and therefore should not be counted.
You said Benny be like.
What?
I'm sure you said that.
No, I said people. I said people be like Happy Tree Friends. You know, like the Tumblr meme?
I
Of
thought
the
you said
outliers?
Benny.
No. But speaking of Benny, I think this will be the funniest thing you'll ever hear in your life. Or maybe his name isn't Benny, but there's this person I work with, who thinks they are always right. I've never met them because we have opposing schedules. Like, by the time I leave, they will not have shown up, and by the time they leave, I will not have shown up. So, I work at a store that sells food, and, specifically the produce department. So, we get a lot of bananas, obviously. Number one selling item at, like, pretty much every grocery store.
Because they're so cheap and... Guys, if you're sleeping on bananas... who is sleeping on bananas?
A bed full of bananas, you're a monkey now.
Okay,
Anyways.
I should have said literally there.
Anyways, I just said... Because I was grabbing a banana box. We use them for a lot of things because we have so many and they're good sturdy boxes. They fell over on me, and I was like, oh, this is fucking annoying, and then I spent like 10 minutes picking them all up. So I sent a message to the group chat. I said, please don't stack the banana boxes like this. It takes up more space, and they are less stable. Thanks, smiley face. I sent a picture along with it, so to be like, don't do this. And then Benny here says, is there any universal way to stack it? Keep in mind, I work overnight and it's 12 a.m. and this guy should not be messaging. So I'm just like, align them on the side so the top and bottom boxes are touching. So you have one box and then you put another box in it sideways and then a third box on top. So the top and bottom boxes completely enclose the middle box and then they stack nicely and they take up less space. And then Benny says, but is this the only method? No other methods? And I just say, it's the best one, because I'm trying to work, and I'm not going to entertain this idea for so long. And then he says, to stack the empty RPC, I understand. I don't know what an RPC is, but we'll hear him out. It has to be placed in the correct slot, and as does not fall. But these empty boxes are used daily, and not stored forever. In that case, I would not worry about it. But I'm worrying about it because they fucking fell on me. So yeah, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah,
so I
reasonably
say,
so.
It takes 10 seconds to stack them properly. It takes a lot longer than that to clean up fallen over boxes. And this man, this boomer has the audacity, the nerve, the gall to say, but how did it fell in the first place? Did someone pushed it? And I lost my fucking shit.
Oh my
How
God.
do you respond to that? So, I took a minute. Actually, I took 7 minutes to respond. I needed to
You had to
calm
sit
down.
with that. You needed to process the stages of grief.
Yeah, especially with the 2 grammatical errors in that sentence in the first place. Anyways, the next message. Wait, I said gravity. I left it simple, single word, and I typed like him because he puts a period at the end of every sentence to like act like he's talking so properly and clear and he has some authority over me. So I just typed gravity, period. To me it was. I was emotionally distraught. And the final message. Nowadays, the data is stored in something called cloud, so the empty boxes also should be stored in space to avoid gravity.
I would like to point out how unprompted that was.
It was extremely unprompted. Where did the cloud come from? He thinks gravity equals clouds equals space. Therefore, we put the boxes in space.
In what way is gravity and clouds related at all? Genuinely, they're not.
It doesn't make sense. It
Mans
literally
was pulling this out of his ass
I don't think he finished high school.
at midnight for no reason.
I think the end of the conversation was well past midnight. It was, the last message was 12:30. He sat here arguing for half an hour over boxes.
When literally all you said was, hey, please stack these proper so they don't fall on me.
I said please, thank you, and a smiley face. Sure, I had a slight tone of passive aggressiveness because, they fell on me and I was annoyed. Because somebody stacked them, stupid.
To be fair, I feel like stuff falls on you a lot at work, so it's like, this is not a new issue, it's just like a different situation, but it's still stuff falling on you.
Yeah, but this one was, I could talk to the people who were the direct cause of it falling on me.
Yeah.
The other stuff that falls on me is people at the distribution center's fault, and I can't talk to them. Which, to be fair, 200 pounds of oranges falling on you is a lot more annoying than a couple boxes. But it was still... I needed to put my foot down and set things straight and not be seen as a child here.
Yeah.
Because everybody I work with is like 50 years old, I swear.
Yeah, you got quite the age gap, I feel like.
It's just all boomers. So.
Boomers who can't stack banana boxes.
It's really not hard. I'll make a tutorial video for them if they can't learn.
Just make a video and send it. Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be learning how to stack banana boxes.
Because none of you can do it right. No offense, Benny.
The fucking call out at Benny.
Yeah. I'll send it to him and I'll actually just only send it to Benny. Not the group chat. Only Benny needs to see it. And that's funny.
What if the company that you work for had like a video on how to do it properly and you sent it to them? That'd be
really funny because when you start at this company, you have to watch training videos so they don't waste all your time using people to train you because it just wastes money, but
and resources.
You never learn anything from it anyways.
No, you don't.
But it would be really funny. I'm gonna make one, send it to the head of the company and be like, can you please implement this into the online training? Because I think that would be hilarious.
It'd be kind of funny.
You know what? Only send it to Benny. And they'll be like, who's Benny? And I'm like,
Oh, you haven't heard?
You haven't heard? You don't know about Benny?
You don't know
he
Benny
lives in the cloud.
You don't know about Benny and the banana boxes? Oh boy, do I have a tale for you.
Screenshots loaded and sent.
Locked and loaded. This man is not surviving.
No.
FBI is back again for Benny.
I think maybe I would be a little less angry at him if I'd ever met the man in person. But it's so much easier to get mad at people you don't know.
It's so easy to fight over the internet.
Because are they a real person? You can't see them.
They're just words on a screen.
Yeah.
So when banana boxes fall on you, then you gotta rage somehow.
Anyways, I'm gonna post the screenshots from those messages with, like, names and phone numbers erased and put it on our Twitter. So that's a good reason for all of you right now to go follow our Twitter at The Hollow Corner. And you'll find some funny tweets, like that story, and maybe some memes and cool stuff like that, announcements, and all that jazz.
Yep, so that about wraps it up for episode 1.
Because we passed an hour, didn't think we could.
No kidding. It was a little bit of a struggle at the first and at the end.
At the first and at the last.
Yes. It was a bit of a struggle. We got there in the end. If you made it to the end, thank you for listening. We will be doing weekly episodes uploaded every Wednesday to platforms we haven't figured out yet.
Most likely the main ones. Probably
Spotify,
SoundCloud, possibly Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Leave a review if you feel like it. We might read them next episode.
If there are any.
It's just us on alt accounts.
Yes. We'll leave our own reviews.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll write some jokes next time.
And it'll be more of a comedy podcast than whatever this shit show was. But thanks for listening, and this has been The Hollow Corner with Kass and Cat.
Okay.
Bye!